Good evening. Fred Blanchard here, Adrenaline Motorsports. As I was mentioning, there was some engine testing done at LTR Race Engines on the Arius LS Hemi Chevrolet, and I had a picture here, and I was teasing him. I said, well, can I show the picture? He says, it's live streaming, so here you are, folks. First view of an Arius LS Chevrolet on live. There you go. That's the real deal right there. And as I also mentioned, in ongoing testing, making changes of various components on there to improve horsepower, just to say that, and have bragging rights, of course, that this little flower is a 403 cubic inch motor, and up to date, as recent as this week, we are at 700 horsepower, 701 to be exact. I'm not going to stretch it any further than that. But working for Arius and being involved directly with this project, we're pretty proud of the results of what we've gotten, and I've seen some tests in some of the other magazines out there of other competitors' cylinder heads and what they've applied to the top of these motors, and I would say that they're not close to this, and nor are we as to the ultimate of what we're going to get out of this, because currently we're also contracted LTR Race Engines to build an LSX factory block Hemi-headed LS Chevrolet to make a real thumper out of it, and he's going all out, getting a good grind cam, high compression pistons, and all that's needed to make a lot of horsepower. I think what you're going to see there is a pretty stout engine, and if I'm guessing that the horsepower you're going to see will be real close to 1,000 horse. I would say within 30 or 40 horsepower, within 1,000 horsepower. That the potential is definitely there, and we're just tickling every little part of it to make it a happy camper. But this is a pretty stout small block, and if anybody's wanting to build a hot rod for the street, I think you may want to have a look at this little flower, and I think this is something that you may want to have. Kind of moving a little bit forward, not too fast forward, but wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things, as I said, going on. I did mention early part of the program before the break that Bill Dembesti has invested quite a bit in the project that he's doing, which is the Dembesti Shelby Hemi-headed Ford, and did show it last week at Carroll Shelby's facility there in Las Vegas. He currently is at the Barrett-Jackson auction, which is a week-long program, and again setting up his I'm going to kid about it, but I shouldn't really. It's quite an investment for somebody to travel with the things that he has, but basically he's displayed all his personal collection, and amongst the personal collection is the first prototype Hemi-headed Ford on display. And if you get a chance, and it's been on in fact, the program has been on the television all week long, the auction. So, I mean, if you get on the Speed Channel, and this is something you want to see, it's the auction, and I have a couple of cronies that went over there to buy some early model cars just for their own satisfaction to drive around town. So it's really quite an auction. It's a biggie once a year, and actually the Hemi Ford was there on display, and from what we were told from observers calling us from there was that it's 3 to 4 people deep constantly around that whole display, and what they're seeing there, they're very, very impressed with what is up and coming here and for the future of the Shelby product line. And Bill Dembesti is one of the premier builders for Carroll Shelby and licensing all of the related components. I had a visit today. I went visiting rather to several places throughout the town, chasing things that need to be done for some of these projects that Arius is working on. And I had an opportunity to go by Carroll Shelby Engineering, which is located in Gardena, California. And I went and visited the engine block manufacturing facility, and that's where they do all the machine work for not only engine blocks but cylinder heads for the Shelby FE Fords and also this Shelby small block cleaver Ford as well, which is the new introduction to the Shelby line of products as far as engines are concerned. But it's a unique facility because basically not only do they have huge machines to do the work to machine the cast aluminum blocks that are brought there, they have cylinder heads there that for their own application. And it's not a place where they just sell it to the vendors. They actually assemble engines there. They have 2 engine dynos that they do run at the facility. And the engines do not go out of there without being certified. And when I say certified, they come with a certificate that it's a genuine Shelby engine that's been tested on their dynos, and it's authentic horsepower. And so when you want to buy a Shelby product, that's either the FE Ford, as you know, which is Shelby's known for, and then this new small block Ford as well is now being made available. So I had a visit there. I got to see some of the machine work again. I went around but I did notice some other things there too, and pretty much related to an up-and-coming future sponsor that we're hoping to have. And I did mention it last week, and it's B&B Performance Products. And I was looking at some of the things that they're going to be doing, and they had some of their products there, and they're currently being finished machined and finalized in assembly and that kind of thing. And this deal seems to be like it's going to turn out to be a pretty big deal as well. At that facility, they're doing the engine blocks, and the engine blocks are pretty much a derivative of the Arias Fontana 8.3-liter engine. And they've gone to a new process in casting technology, and they've added what's called the HIP process in their engine blocks. And the reason, what the HIP process does, for those, we're not going to get too technical about it, but it pretty much creates a higher density of material as it goes into a pressure chamber with a certain type of gas applied to it for quite a few days under pressure, and it changes the whole structure of the material. And when it comes out, it is considerably more solid than what it was when it went in, including the and then it goes to a heat treat process after that. But when it's done, it's as if you had a solid block of aluminum to machine, because this machine's just like that, but it's the shape of an engine block, which makes it unique. And I understand that technology comes from great expense from the military, who apply this process to a lot of aircraft components and landing structure components and things like that. And I found that this comes from that part of the world. But in building race products, none of the engine builders really chose to use this process for some time. And I think the first company that used the process, from what I can tell and just snooping around and asking questions, was Donovan Engineering. They have been applying it to certain models of their engine block for performance use. And then the next company that did it was, I believe, New Century Performance, which makes a Chevrolet block that's a derivative of Chevrolet. It has all the Chevrolet dimensions, but it's been enhanced quite a bit. And one of their engines set a land speed record in by the Nish family there at Bonneville, not Speed Week, but the World of Speed, I believe, or no, the Mike Cook event. It ran 417 miles an hour with one of the New Century Performance engine blocks. And that's saying something, because the engine was normally aspirated. Even though they ran fuel, there was no supercharger or anything like that on this thing. And that says a lot for the engine builder, which is Tom Klein out of Arizona. I know Tom personally, and I got to tell you that it took a lot to get the horsepower that they got with a normally aspirated engine. So if you're looking for engine parts, there's a lot of people out there building things for the hardcore side of the business, and B&B is going to become one of those. And they're going to have a premier engine block in the marketplace. In fact, there's 2 that's been already sent to their customers, and with the rants and raves, because they've improved upon considerably. And look forward to having them aboard. And